Welcome to the Photo Banter podcast. I'm your host, Alex Gagne, and on today's podcast, I speak with photographer Nolwen Cifuentes. Nolwen has worked with clients such as Rolling Stone, Time Magazine, Wired, and Airbnb, to name a few. In this interview, I speak to Nolwen about a recent assignment for Rolling Stone and how she approaches editorial portrait shoots. I also speak to Nolwen about her experience photographing weddings and how she went on to pursuing a career working with magazines and commercial clients. In this interview, I also speak to Nolwen about her recent cover shoot for Entertainment Weekly with actor Sacha Baron Cohen. Nolwen was recently honored as one of the 30 new and emerging photographers to watch in 2020. So I was really excited to get a chance to speak with her about her journey with photography. So I hope you enjoy, and thanks so much for listening. All right. Well, Nolwen Cifuentes, welcome to the podcast. Excited to talk to you. But I guess to start off, I was just kind of curious. We're about a month into the new year. How's the year been starting off for you? What have you been working on lately?
It's been going good so far. I had a few jobs in January. February's kind of slow, but I'm just like taking the time to work on some personal projects. I'm like building a beauty portfolio. So just taking the time to like shoot some personal work and edit some other things. And I'm actually also working on writing a short film. So
Okay.
just, yeah, it's kind of nice. I feel like I'm in a place where when things get slow, I don't panic anymore and I can just focus on other things.
That's good. At least there's one of us out there. I feel like that I'm always every year around January. I don't know what it's like on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, I feel like there's the holidays, and then there's just like a little slow period until it gets stuff kind of going. It's kind of similar to you out there, pretty much.
I feel like it's kind of the same. Yeah, I think the new year it's always a little bit slower, and then like maybe towards the end of the winter it starts picking up more.
No doubt. Yeah, I saw recently, I think you did a little shoot for Rolling Stone, photographing filmmaker Chloe Zhao. I'll pull it up. People can look at it. It came out really nice. How did that
Thank
kind of come
you.
about for you, and what was kind of your approach to that shoot?
Yeah, so that came about. I've actually been, I saw Joe Rodriguez was on this podcast
Yeah,
not
last
too
week.
long ago. Yeah, last week. Okay, nice. So he's the one who got me this project. I've been kind of building a relationship with him for a while now. And he hired me to shoot something else. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, he hired me to shoot something else before and then like just sent me to shoot Chloe, and which was awesome because I love her films. It's actually like, the type of work that I would want to get into if and when I get into filmmaking. So yeah, this was a really cool shoot.
For like a shoot like this, like how much time did you get with her? And like, do you kind of going with the plan of like how you want to shoot it, or how did you kind of approach this portrait session?
I feel like every shoot I approach it differently, just depending on like what it is, who it is, how much budget there is for it and stuff. For this one, it was just me. I didn't have an assistant or anything. It was in Ojai near her home. So I got there. I've never been to Ojai before, and I've heard it's amazing. So I got there really early. Like I think I got there like 4 hours early or something, just to check out the town and like get lunch there. But I basically just like kind of went to her where she lived and then just started driving around and like walking around and just finding different spots. And this image here was this like I think it was like an abandoned bowling alley or something. And just this whole location was really cool and had all this nice texture. And then by the time we photographed her, it was golden hour
Oh yeah,
light. So
you
it
guys
was
got that California
fun.
golden hour.
Oh yeah. I
It's-
requested that. I was like, can we please shoot during magic hour?
wow, so you guys, you kind of this were kind of wandering around and kind of stumbled upon this location, or you kind of scouted before, or
I just stumbled upon this location like a couple hours before the shoot.
that's cool. Yeah,
Hmm.
it came out nice. Um,
Thank you.
but I guess to go back, I was just kind of curious, like where you grew up and like how you kind of discovered photography, I guess.
I grew up in Merino Valley, which is in the desert. It's in the Inland Empire. So it's like
Okay.
60 miles east of LA. And but my father's from Colombia and my mom is French, and they both immigrated here. But I was born here and then came to LA. yeah, in 2008. So I actually came to LA. I went to UCLA. I was a transfer student, so I just did like 2 years at UCLA, and I was doing graphic design at the time. Like that's what I was studying. That's kind of what I thought. I didn't really like graphic design that much, but it just made sense as like a good career move to me.
Definitely.
I was like, I think this is like a normal job that I could do. And but before that, I was really into photography and filmmaking and even painting, just like all kinds of different artistic mediums.
Mhm.
So I thought graphic design made sense. But then I actually got a job in graphic design right after I graduated. And I realized, oh, I don't like this at all.
What were you doing?
It was I was still working at UCLA for their film and television department and just doing like helping build their website or like creating flyers, or I was designing like the email blast and stuff. So it wasn't like super creative graphic design type of stuff, but it was also just like like we were in a cubicle, it's kind of the 9 to 5, and just the environment of like everyone there just were waiting to retire. They
Yeah.
were just so excited for their retirement.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've worked at definitely a bunch of corporate jobs like that. And they kind
Mhm.
of, a lot of times it can't be that creative. Like some places are for sure, but then a lot of it can just kind of get repetitive. It's just like they got their formula, they
Right.
kind of stick to the same creative kind of whatever they're doing. So it can get
Right.
monotonous, I guess.
Yeah, it gets very boring. And also just felt like I'm there from I think I was there from like 9 to 5:30 or 9 to 6. Yeah, it was 9 to 6 because then you get like an hour break or something. And I was like, I don't need to be here this long. Like most of the time I'm just like don't have anything to do and I'm just staring,
Yeah.
at a screen. Like I felt like I was in the movie Office Space. Like I really relate to this.
Oh yeah.
So I just
I've been there.
yeah. So I decided like I don't want to live this life, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I kind of just decided to do wedding photography because I had heard you can make a lot of money doing it. And I had bought I think I had a Canon T2i at the time. I just like had this camera. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do weddings.
Is that the one? It's got a little
Um,
pop-up flash on it, right?
I think it had the pop-up flash. Yeah, I'm
I love
pretty
a
sure.
good
It was a
pop. I
very
love a
tiny
good
one.
pop-up flash,
That's
Those
true.
it's a good like
Yeah.
party
Why
cam. I
not?
love those cameras.
That's true. It's like quick and easy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I got into weddings and like, I mean, I think the first I just like hit up some wedding photographer and asked if I could second shoot for him for free.
Hmm.
And I did. And I'm pretty sure like none of the shots were exposed correctly or in focus. Just started like learning a skill that way.
Yeah.
And then quit my job. Thought I was going to become this like big wedding photographer. And then as the more weddings I shot, I realized, well, I don't like shooting weddings either. This is also very boring. So just kind of back like, well, crap, I feel kind of lost. And then trying different kinds of things. Like I was working in film, doing like production coordinating. I also was a second camera assistant on a lot of different like music videos, and just started dipping my feet everywhere, not really sure what I wanted to do. And then somehow I got into shooting stills for music videos. I think it was just I had a lot of friends who were in filmmaking, and I was doing a lot of this like second assistant camera work. And, I'd like bring a camera sometimes and just like take little pictures. And one of my best friends, she's a really great director, and she was directing a short film. I forget what year this would have been, but maybe like 2013 or something. And I asked if I could shoot stills on her short. And I did, and it ended up being really cool. And that was the first time I was like, oh, I actually like this was kind of fun. I like doing this. So I started shooting a lot more still, like behind the scenes stuff. And then I went on this big road trip by myself in 2015, and I brought my camera, and I had a 35 millimeter film camera. It's like a Canon Rebel
Yeah.
EOS. And just at the time, I was just taking like some landscapes and like self portraits. And that really felt like very freeing and very exciting. And I finally felt like, oh, I really found something I enjoy. And it's still photography, but it's like a style, like something within photography that I really like. So then I ended up self-publishing a book of that road trip, and like started sending that out to different editors, and then just started creating more personal work. Got a website up that was, kind of more, it had a lot of the stills, the BTS stuff, but then also just like shooting my friends or like finding models on like Model Mayhem and doing little photo shoots with them. And so just created a body of work that way. That's kind of how it all started. Just
And you kind of just, did you ever take like photo class, or you pretty much just kind of trial and error, kind of taught yourself pretty much?
Was fully trial and error. I'm now starting, like, because it's been slow, so I've been taking a lot of creative live classes. But
how is that? Is it good?
It's really cool. There's so many great. I got the creator pass, so it's like 1 year for $150, and you get so many classes. So it's really good. It's really, really, really cool for different lighting. They have business classes, posing class, like all kinds of different photography classes.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm kind of, I've definitely, most of my career has been trial and error. I did do a little bit of photo assisting too, so I learned through that. But most of it's been trial and error. Now I'm like, okay, well, now I want to really get super technical and understand, just finesse the things that I've learned through my own.
Yeah, I was using another one of those like creative websites. It was the one that's owned by like Microsoft now. It's called like Linda.
Is it like Linda? Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of there's like so many like same thing. If I had like free time, I was trying to learn how to do like video editing and stuff. And I was like thinking back, I was like, man, I could have just got my college degree on YouTube or something,
I know, you totally can.
Yeah. Well, live you learn. But I think like hearing how you went about it is somewhat similar to me. It's just kind of dabbling in a lot of different types of photography. Like I went the same route. Like literally I was like, oh, you can make money doing wedding photography. And I was doing like, I literally went to those like trade shows and like set up a booth. And
I did that. I totally did that.
But honestly, I didn't enjoy it, but I did learn something from it, because you're literally there trying to sell yourself. And there's like a million brides coming in and you're like, hey, talk to me, sign up for a free engagement session. I did so many of that, but I mean, I think that it says something like just, it's important to just kind of dabble and try different stuff and see what you like and see what you don't like,
Right. Yeah. Just be curious. I think I also, like you said, with the wedding stuff, I learned a lot about business. I think a lot of photographers don't focus on the business side so much.
Yeah.
But I think I learned a lot about that because I was running my own business, doing weddings. So
yeah, definitely. And I guess like, because looking at your work now, you do a lot of editorial, you do commercial, do some motion work. Was that kind of always your goal to shoot for like magazines and that type of work, or how did you kind of get into that world?
I think like when I started really more focusing on the type of photography that felt good to me. So like after this road trip, and then after the road trip, just doing more and more personal projects, I definitely wanted to do magazine work. Like that was kind of my like big goal. And all the photographers that I really looked up to, they were all doing like editorial. So that was really what I was focusing on in the beginning. And I love doing editorial, and want to always continue doing editorial, but sort of recently have realized there's like a cap on how much money you can make doing editorial.
Facts.
So now I'm really pushing more towards commercial work. And I think that you can still be just as creative and actually even having more money to make the type of work that's more, you can get more lighting, you can get a bigger crew, you just have a little bit more opportunities and possibilities when there's more money involved.
Yeah.
So now my goal is to just like really focus more in the commercial world and motion too. I'm really interested in like filmmaking and directing as well.
Yeah. And you get more money. You can actually spend money on personal projects you want to do, and it helps kind of feed. It's like, I look at it like it's like a whole. It's like watering different plants, and you're trying to make them all grow. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Who were kind of some of your favorite photographers early on, like people's work you're kind of looking at, I guess, when you started?
When I started, that's a good question. I can't remember everyone that I liked when I started. I mean, some of the classic photographers were like Annie Leibovitz, Philip Lorca de Corsia.
Oh yeah, legend.
Legend. Yeah, he was amazing. Like Vivian Meyer. I liked a lot of the street photographers too. I kind of tried to do street photography for a while, but that was another thing that I was like, I don't like this.
What didn't you like about it?
I feel like it's so aggressive, like to take a photo of someone when they haven't consented to it.
Yep.
To me, I really love a lot of work that other street photographers do. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but just like me doing it didn't feel good. Like I just felt like I don't feel like I'm connecting with this person. I feel like this person is now mad at me.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Well, it's like tough
So
because you don't have like I think the reason I do a lot of editorial portraiture myself, and there's an element you have control over it. You're picking like what light you want to use, where you want the
right.
person to stand, and you have some like level of control to a certain degree, you know. Whereas like
Yeah,
street
exactly.
photography, it's like you don't
It's
know what you're
just
gonna
like
get. It's like, I mean, hats off to those guys. Like, I don't know if you ever seen that dude Bruce Gilden. He's just
yeah.
that guy. I can't. I mean, he just gets right up in people's faces with a flash, and he's just like, and people get mad at him. He's like, "Why are you
Like
yelling at me?"
wide angle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, I guess when you started working with like magazines and stuff, like how are you kind of getting your name out there? Because I think a lot of people listening, they might have goals of shooting for like Rolling Stone or Time and all these great
Mhm.
publications you've worked for. But how do you kind of, when you're first starting out, get your name in the door? What kind of work for you? I guess.
So yeah, I mean, like we were saying earlier with the whole wedding stuff, like I feel like I learned marketing and business, and I really brought that into like the whole editorial thing. So I was just always cold emailing editors, like always cold emailing, trying to get meetings, pitching ideas. One of the first things I ever got published was for Dazed, and it was just like a story, like a very street style story of like this young homeless man that I was just I followed him for several weeks and um took his pictures. And then even though this, I kind of felt later like maybe this whole approach was a little problematic, but that is how I got like my first published was or how I first got published was this story, just pitching it to a magazine editor.
Yeah.
um and a lot of different things, yeah, just constantly reaching out to people. And also the first time I got a cover, so the first cover I ever shot was Nancy Pelosi for
Wow.
New York Times Magazine.
Not a,
Yeah, which
hey,
is
not a bad
pretty.
place to start. Not a bad place to start.
Yeah. And now I got that. I mean, this definitely doesn't happen often, but it does. Like, this is how you get your work out there and build relationships. I basically emailed the editor, Stacey Baker at New York Times Magazine. She's not there anymore, but at the time she was there, and asked her for a meeting. I just told her, hey, I'm coming to New York. I'd love to meet with you, show you some of my work. And she called me that day and said, do you want to shoot this cover for us? It's just kind of like, obviously that's not something that happens often, but
Right place,
you
right
never
time.
know. Right
Yeah.
place, right time. You just have to put yourself out there. I think it was Will Ferrell said in like some graduation speech, like just throw darts at the wall and like
Yeah.
just keep throwing them, and like one of them will stick.
I feel like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you feel like this sometimes because there's like, as a freelance photographer, you're working freelance, you never know when your next job's coming. There's days and weeks where it feels like nothing's happening, but I always just try to remind myself, like, just keep reaching out to people. And like,
Hmm.
we're kind of going back, kind of corny, I keep saying, but like watering those seeds. And it's like, you never know when you're going to get that call back. Cause like, I don't know,
Hmm.
there's definitely weeks where I just get like bummed out. There's nothing
Oh yeah.
happening. And I'm like, am I ever going to work again? But I just have to remind myself, keep showing up and keep
Right.
sending those emails pretty much. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And just like keep nurturing relationships, like the relationships, you're not going to just get a job right away from like the first person you email. Like that person might email you back and be like, oh cool, I like that, keep me posted. And then maybe you follow them on Instagram, and then you guys just like start becoming friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then like maybe a year after you first email them, then they'll commission something for you. So it's
Now
just
with,
like a process.
yeah, definitely. It's a lot of patience. With this cover for the New York Times Magazine with Nancy Pelosi, did the magazine give you a lot of direction on what they wanted, or what was kind of your approach with this shoot, I guess?
It's kind of a great story. So they actually gave me a lot of direction, and it wasn't what you're seeing at all. It
Okay.
was, they had me hire a fake Nancy Pelosi because we shot this in San Francisco. So they flew me out to San Francisco, but I was in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So they had me hire a fake Nancy Pelosi in LA and do a whole test shoot. And it was
Wow.
like a gray backdrop, closed, tight shot on her. and just kind of different, angles of a tight shot. That was supposed to be the cover.
Yep.
And so we did this whole test shoot. We get to, this is the Presidio in San Francisco, and set up the seamless shot, everything. And then I think it was the editor who noticed this curtain. She was just like, oh, this curtain is kind of nice. Like, why don't we like do a shot here? I was like, oh yeah, this looks great. And like, look at the chair, like this chair, like all of this, like this color palette is really nice. And then we kind of got nervous because we're supposed to have like 20 minutes with her, but we're supposed to get like the seamless shot, then drive to the Golden Gate Bridge and get a shot of her there, and like try to fit this one in.
Holy cow. Yeah, that's tough. Like, good luck getting a subject to show up to one location, but then drive to a second one. Wow.
In like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So my editor was like, okay, but this shot against the curtain, like we can cut it if we don't have time. And I was like, oh, but I think it's going to be really good. And then Nancy Pelosi shows up in this outfit. We didn't know what she was going to wear at all. And it's like, whoa, this perfectly matches the background. So it's just all just very serendipitous. Like the whole plan that we had tested before didn't even make it in the magazine at all.
Wow. So, yeah, that's the fun thing about editorial. You know what's going to happen when you show up. And do you enjoy that, like collaboration with photo editors and kind of like sharing ideas? Is that like a process you like?
I love that. Yeah, I really love, like, what I love about photography and editorial is like that process of collaboration, like collaborating, maybe it's with the editor, maybe it's with the talent themselves, or hair, makeup, styling, like whoever it is. Like I feel like it's a team effort. It's not just like my vision. Like it can be way greater if it's a collaboration, and Definitely. I'm not like narrow-minded, stuck in my head.
And when you're photographing someone like Nancy Pelosi, who's been photographed a bunch of times by different photographers, are you someone who does a lot of research? Will you look at like other photographs that have been taken of her? Like, how do you kind of prepare for like a shoot like this, I guess?
Yeah, definitely do some research. I think the main research I try to do when I photograph anyone is, I try to do my best to figure out like what's their vibe, what's their energy, do they have a bunch of like selfies of themselves, like, looking glamorous, or are they like much more reserved and like don't really like taking their picture, what's their energy, as much as I can find. There's only so much you can kind of find on the internet about that, but just really trying to find their energy, and that helps me just create an idea and concept for them. Yeah.
No, it's cool. So when you're first starting out, like you're kind of building your name and kind of lucky you shot that awesome cover. Like, how do you keep it going? Like, getting one job's one thing, but that's the real feat, is like keeping the train moving and like keeping it going. Like, how do you kind of keep building your name? Where did you do any like print mailers or anything like that, or how do you keep this engine going?
I mean, it's funny because after I shot the Nancy Pelosi shoot, in my head I was like, that's it, I'm famous. Like I'm gonna have just like people just like there'll be too many emails, like, and that did not happen at all. It was basically just back to crickets afterwards. And now I've learned that, and I understand that, like, I shot her, I think it was 2016. So it's like that work that I did in 2016, that's what's getting me work today in 2021.
Yeah.
It's like a long thing. And yeah, I used to do print mailers. I don't really do them anymore because I feel like it was expensive. And honestly, the thing that I do that works the best is just send out a personal email.
Yeah, definitely.
So like either someone I want to work with or someone that I've worked with before, and I'm just kind of showing them new work or something. So now I'm really just doing that. But yeah, I've done everything. I've done like the email blast, the print mailers, like all of it. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just like lowering your expectations and knowing that it's everything you do is important, and it's going to bring you closer to, the career that you envision for yourself, but it's going to take a lot longer than, it's not like the one job is going to get you everything.
Yeah, definitely. I'm coming with all these cheesy quotes, but what do they say? It's a marathon, not a sprint. And I always have to.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's like you have to think of it like, okay, this is going to be the rest of my life, so I don't need to get it all today.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to, if any way I can do it, just keep shooting pictures and not have to go working back at retail again. If I can just,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's I keep a low bar as long as whatever they want me to shoot, dudes in offices, whatever, I don't care. um, but one thing I'm always curious about, like as a photographer, did it kind of take you a while to kind of find your voice or your kind of style or aesthetic? Like, is that something you think about a lot? Just the style and approach, I guess, of your work.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm still trying to find that out. Like, I feel like, at first I was trying the whole more street documentary type of thing. And then I didn't feel like me because the same thing where I'm like, I don't really feel that joyful doing this. And I want to like do something where I have more of a connection with the person and light things. Like I just want to have more like creative control. So then I started doing more of that. And then it's like the way I edit things has kind of changed, where at first it was a lot more muted and like desaturated. Now I like more color and like saturation. But now I'm kind of like, well, maybe I want to go back to the desaturated. So I feel like it's just always this like process. But what I've learned in terms of like finding my voice is, first of all, just narrowing things down, like really just being, to me, it's like I'm really want to focus on portraiture. Like that's my thing. Like I'm not really interested in doing lifestyle. I'm not interested in doing like, I don't know, product photography or whatever else. It's just like specifically portraiture.
Hmm.
And also just when I'm shooting something, really trying to feel like really trying to tune into how I feel and think like, am I joyful right now? Is this something that's making me happy? And if it is, then okay, well then I just need to do more of that. And if it's not, then well, I should just not do that anymore. And that's kind of, I think the more you narrow down, the more you can find your style.
Yeah, definitely. And do you have to like pay attention to like photo trends that you see going on out there, or do you kind of just try to block all that out? Because as you know, with like social media and stuff, you see so many different people's work, and it's like, I don't know, sometimes it can go in these like rabbit holes of like being like, should I be doing that? Should I be doing that? Or you try to just kind of block it out and kind of do your thing pretty much.
I definitely go into rabbit holes.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big social media addict, like probably to a fault.
Yep.
And yeah, I see a lot of trends, and then I do think that like, oh my gosh, should I be doing that? And then I'll try it. And a lot of my work is me sort of trying, like there was like the whole star filter
Yep.
thing, and I tried some of that and like color gels, and then just like more like classic black and white. And I kind of tried it all. And to me, I mean, I'm okay with it. I think it's fine to like try out the trends. Like if it's exciting and fun and like you like what it looks like why not try it out and see if you like doing it and if it works, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the more I'm shooting, like this year's been obviously really tough. The past year with the pandemic, I've probably shot the least amount of personal work that I've done like in
Hmm.
my life. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know about you, but like the more I shoot, like if I got personal projects going or whatever, it's like momentum. But anytime I have this lull, and I feel like right now I'm in this period where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like
Right.
you know what I mean? But I don't know.
Um,
Wasn't
yeah,
really.
I feel like lately I was really busy in 2020, which I'm really grateful for. And
Mhm.
then this year it sort of started to slow down, at least this month. But now I'm just like really into fitness and eating healthy. And I'm just trying to have like a bigger, like broader life that's like not just about my photography work
Oh yeah.
and like feel fulfilled as like as a full human.
Yeah, I think like I don't know if you ever feel like this. I feel like I work hard, but I no matter how hard you work, there's always a sense of like I could be doing more or something. It's
Right.
because you look at I'm like, oh, is Art Schreiber and like Joe Pug, are these dudes just working 24 hours a day, and like is that what I should be doing?
Right.
But who knows? Maybe he's just like chilling on the couch some days. You never know. But I kind of think like no matter, I don't know, just have this feeling of like, am I doing enough? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I
But
definitely feel like I used to feel like that a lot. But I think that too, like, we don't know how much these people are working. We just know that they're posting a lot on
yeah,
Instagram. That
yeah, goes
doesn't
back
mean
to
they
the
could just be looking through their archives and
exactly.
posting old stuff.
Yeah,
You
I gotta
know?
get control of my mind. Um, one shoot I was excited to talk to you about. You shot another cover for Time, Kamala Harris. I was kind of curious your experience photographing her. Had you worked with Time previous to that shoot?
That was my first shoot with Time.
Wow.
Actually, it's
I like
my
the way you're
only
doing it.
shoot
You
with
go
Time.
straight cover. You just
Yeah.
go straight cover. New York Times Magazine cover. First shoot, Time
Straight
cover.
to the Exactly. That's how you got to do it.
Yeah. But how's your kind of
yeah, they reached out to me. I think they saw the. No, I was gonna say, I think they saw the Nancy Pelosi shoot.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's they just found me, so they weren't someone I had been like reaching out to. I mean, I'm sure I had sent them some work, but they weren't like a relationship that I had been nurturing or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Paul Moakley. Yeah, he reached out to me, just saying, "Hey, do you want to shoot Kamala Harris for the cover?" It's like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a cool experience. It was all, I mean, it was the same thing. We had like 20 minutes with her. There was a little bit of creative direction. I had another image that was sort of similar that they wanted me to do a similar thing with. So we had like, yeah, this like backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
So we did this look, and then there's another look that we did of her against blue. Super simple. We just shot this like in an office in downtown. And yeah, I mean, at this point, I did not know she was going to be the vice president. She was just she was running for president, and shortly after dropped out of the race. So in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess we won't hear from her again.
and with these shoots where you don't have a lot of time, do you kind of have like poses you want to try? Like, did you know you wanted her to pose like this? Do you kind of like map it out, or like have like some people have like mood boards and stuff, or like how did you kind of approach this shoot, I guess?
I always have on almost every shoot. The one with Chloe Zhao, I didn't have so much of a mood board. But for this one, yeah, I always try to have a mood board, like a basic idea of like, okay, we knew we were going to do something with her on the table, like hands on the table. We knew we were going to have her standing in front of this, sitting in front of this, and then like sitting in front of the blue. So it's kind of like, okay, here's like, 4 or 5 different sort of posing ideas. And then within that, I kind of just feel out her energy. Like I asked her to do something. I had actually asked her to put her hand up to her face,
Mm-hmm.
and she did not like that. She said,
Okay.
"No, that's going to make me look perplexed."
Interesting.
So I was like, "All right, well, we don't have to do that then."
And in the moment, are you,
down.
when she says that, are you like just kind of rolling with the punches? Are you kind of like, how do you remember feeling at that point? Because it's like, as a photographer, you have like your creative idea of what you want to execute, but then it's still a collaboration with the subject. Like, what do you kind of remember about that shoot?
I think you have to let go of your creative vision, because at the end of the day, you're trying to represent this person in the best way that you can.
Mm-hmm.
So when she told me she didn't want to do that, I was instantly like, well, let's not do that.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where I try to push someone where I'm just like, maybe feeling that it could be really cool, but maybe they're self-conscious, or yeah, there's some moments depending on the energy of the person where I'm like, well, let's just try it and see what happens. But if someone really doesn't want to do something or doesn't want to do a pose, I'm not going to push them to do it. I think you have to be respectful of how that person wants to be seen and represented.
Yeah, it's kind of reading the room and having respect for your subject, and just kind of rolling with those punches. Another project, I'll pull it up. I was interested in talking to you about. It was one of your personal projects. I might be pronouncing this wrong, mezcala, which I believe this in Spanish is mixture, correct?
Right, mezcla.
Yep, mezcla.
Yeah, mixed.
How long you been working on this project, and what was kind of your goal with these portraits?
I actually didn't shoot any of this last year. I think just because of the pandemic, or I don't know. But I had been shooting these for about 2 years before that, from like 2018 to 2019. And yeah, I mean, basically, so this like paragraph here is just about like my experience. So I'm, as I was saying, half Colombian and half French. So my mom is white and my father's mixed. He's from Colombia. And sort of like, especially in this time where everyone's talking about race and identities, I just sort of felt like, well, I don't really know where I fit into this picture, like I definitely, just because of the way that I look, didn't feel like I was white, but I also don't really felt like I fit in with like Latina or Latinx people. You know, I don't speak Spanish, or I speak very little Spanish. And so that was sort of, I wanted to explore that and speak to other people who came from two different backgrounds, and how do they feel? How do they fit in? So, you know, I think it's interesting to see visually, like, what do these people look like?
Mm-hmm.
And then also we'll kind of add a little bit of some text behind it. But I think it's like very visual because it's interesting. Like my friend here, Pasquale, he's half Mexican and half white. He's also super talented director, one half of Clica.
Okay.
Just shout out.
Shout out.
But so I mean, because of how he looks really Mexican. So he's really leaned into that side of him.
Mm-hmm.
But his brother actually they're the same exact mix, same parents, but his brother looks really white.
Mm-hmm.
And so he really leaned into that. So it's very interesting, just like visually, like how our appearances are, that we connect with one side of our race rather than the other.
And was
so
this
that's kind of what this.
And was it like a daunting project to start, like kind of approaching people to kind of talk to them about their race and things, or how did you kind of approach like finding subjects, I guess?
Well, I started out with, I think Pasquale might have been the first person I photographed, just because he's a friend of mine. So, and I knew his background, and he already, like, you know, we had talked about it already a lot. So I think I started with him, and then it went so well. There's another girl a little lower, is a friend of mine. So I kind of just started with friends,
Mm-hmm.
and then sort of put out like a casting call, I think just on Instagram, to see who else was interested, or asked other friends, you know, anyone who's mixed? And everyone was really open to it. I mean, obviously, if you're, you know, answering to this casting call and want to do it, you obviously are interested in this.
Yep.
But yeah, everyone was very open to talking about it. And it's really interesting. Like, everyone has such different experiences in, you know, depending on what they look like, or what their backgrounds are, or even just their relationships with their parents. It's just all different experiences. And yeah, it was a really nice series, and I definitely want to continue it. I don't know, I just didn't do it last year.
Yeah. And I think with each subject, you kind of did like a little interview and kind of talked to them pretty much. And do you think there would ever be like a video or audio component with this project down the line, you think?
I was thinking of doing an audio. I actually like that, because I feel like you can connect. I think you can connect with people visually, you know, seeing their face, and also hearing their voice. I feel like it's really creates like some vulnerability, some authenticity. So I did kind of think of doing that. I guess I'd have to see if I still have all the audio files for these, but sort of like where under each image there'd be just a little audio, and you can hit play and then listen to their whole interview. I think would be really nice.
Yeah, I always like those exhibits at different art exhibits where sometimes there will be like an audio, like you walk up to like a screen or something, and it just adds like another texture and kind of thing.
Yeah,
you kind of learn from the project. But yeah, I really enjoy these portraits. Like, is there anything you kind of have taken away from getting to talk to all these different people? There, just different experiences and whatnot.
Well, I think what I took away is that, you know, everyone has different experiences. It's not like being mixed is not one sort of, it's not one same experience, but that it's also very beautiful. There's a lot of power in just like identifying with different cultures. And yeah, I feel like the more there's going to be more and more and more people of mixed race. Like, it's not, you know, race is not such a black and white thing, pun not intended, but yeah.
Yep. No, definitely. No, they're great. And I like the approach. It seems like it's pretty much just all kind of natural light with the approach to these, pretty much, right?
Yeah, it's all natural light. Yeah, just like very raw. We just basically spent like each person maybe 30 minutes walking around taking pictures, and then like another hour or something just talking, and I did record all of them too.
No, it was a really great project. Another thing I was kind of interested on the business side, I know you're represented by, I believe they're called the Good Brigade, correct?
Yeah.
I was just kind of curious, like,
what was kind of your choice with partnering with the rep? Like, what do they bring to the table for you, and how do you kind of know your rep was like the right fit for you, I guess?
So Good Brigade, I've actually known them. It's two women who run it, and I've known them forever. I've known them since I was shooting weddings. I met them because at the time they were working with Image Source, doing like stock photography, and they were reps there. And one of their photographers had put out this casting call they wanted to photograph someone with their dog. And I really loved this. She was like a Grace Chan, I want to say his name. I think it's Grace Chan. She's a really talented pet photographer, and I had a dog at the time, so I like submitted a photo of me and my dog, and she took our pictures. And my now rep came with her to the shoots.
Wow.
And I told her, I was like, oh, I'm doing weddings, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling it that much. I don't really know what I want to do, but I feel like I want to do something else. And she was like, well, do you want to shoot stock photography? So I haven't mentioned this yet, but I did shoot stock photography for many years.
Wow, I like it. I like this. You've dabbled in everything. This is great. How about like underwater photography? You into that too?
Actually, I haven't done underwater yet. That has to come soon.
Oh yeah, so the Good Brigade, they kind of got you into the stock world for a little bit.
So they got me into the stock world for a bit, and then because of that, they just followed my work. So they just had been following me for a long time. Like we had been in contact for years and years. Then they started the Good Brigade, and yeah, then they asked me if I wanted. I think they started the Good Brigade, and I think a year after they started it, they asked me if I wanted to join their roster. And yeah, I was really excited, just because I already like had that rapport with them. Like I knew they really believed in my work, and I knew them. And I feel like a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what an agent is. I have a lot of photographers that ask me like, how did you get her? Like, they think that getting an agent means that now the agent is just gonna book you a bunch of work. Yeah. No. And that's not, yeah. To me, I love having my agent. I honestly feel like I would never want to not have an agent. I feel like, they really helped me with like contracts. They comb through all the contracts. They helped me with like budgeting and bids. And it feels like they're kind of a business partner where, we're kind of coming, like they help me brainstorm ideas. They've helped me like with my website layout and design, like what images to put up there. And I'm sending them now like a bunch of different commercial campaigns. Like, oh, I loved this campaign. Like, so we work together as a team to develop my, my voice as a photographer and get work. And then also they're just sort of this buffer with the client for like uncomfortable conversations. Like Definitely. They'll take care of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then they're also a good resource, if we need like a producer for a job or like hair and makeup or anything, like they're just like a good person that helps me with that as well. So I feel like, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell like if I don't think they have ever been the reason why I booked work. I think the reason why I booked work is because the client liked my work and like found it through, maybe they saw the Time magazine cover or something. I think that you book work because you're good at what you do and because you're nurturing relationships and you're putting your work out there all the time. It's not like an agent is just going to magically start booking you work.
No, it seems it really is like a team thing where it seems like you have a good relationship where you guys, it's kind of like a springboard, like they kind of help you with ideas and help kind of have some type of direction. Cause that's like one thing I struggle with, like you want to keep like building and like you said, you want to start doing more commercial work. So it's like good I would imagine to have people to talk to who have different experiences in the business and have their 2 cents, and you can kind of learn from them. They can learn from you. And it's really like a team thing that seems kind of beneficial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's also just someone to keep you accountable to, like we do like marketing, like outreach things together. And I feel like if I was doing that by myself, I might just not be so excited about doing it and maybe not follow through. But then they're like, okay, well, who have you emailed? Like we've emailed this people,
They're like your trainer at the gym. They're like,
exactly.
2 more reps, 2 more reps.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I guess with the stock stuff, I'm just kind of so curious about it because that's one realm I don't know a lot about. What kind of stuff were you shooting? I don't know if you did it for that long, but like, what did you kind of learn about stock photography in that period? I guess.
Stock photography, I mean, it's a cool way to make a lot of passive income. Like I haven't shot stock in a few years, but I'm still getting royalty checks from it every month. So it's a nice way to make some passive income. But I just shot like I would just cast people in LA casting and shoot different like families, couples. It was mostly just families and couples.
So would you so were you like partner with like a specific like stock agency, and would they kind of give you, because I have a buddy who does a little bit of it, and they'll send out like an email every month like, hey, we're looking for XYZ stuff like that, or you kind of were you just kind of creating your own stuff, or
so I was just creating my own stuff sometimes, and it was my images are licensed with like Getty, Offset. I feel like there's one more, Adobe maybe. I can't remember all of them. But I would just shoot my own stuff, just like, well, I want to shoot like this cool family, or I want to shoot like this couple is like looks really cute, like let's shoot them. And sometimes they would have some requests like, well, we need more like, you know, middle-aged couples or something like that. Then I would just do something in that style.
Yeah. It seems like interesting business. It's more built on volume rather than maybe like creativity at some point. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like,
no, it's super volume. You have to shoot a lot of it. And it was one of those things where same thing. I would shoot a lot of it and then kind of try and tune into where I'm feeling. And I was like, I don't like this. I don't feel joyful doing this.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's really interesting that at least you dabbled in it. Another project that was really cool, I noticed on your website, it was a motion project called Groove. That people can definitely go check it out. I was just kind of curious what that was all about. It came out great.
Thank you.
But what was that project all about for you?
Oh yeah, so that is super fun. I photographed it with my fiance, who's a very talented cinematographer, not photographed. I guess I directed it and he shot it. And yeah, it was really fun. I mean, I'm basically one of my big goals is to build a much larger motion portfolio. And that was just a personal project, just sort of to add to that portfolio. So just found a couple cool dancers in LA, and I was just like, let's just make a fun dance video in like downtown.
That's awesome. So you guys just kind of wandered around and shot for a day pretty much?
Pretty much. Like I scouted some spots beforehand, and then we basically just did exactly that, just walked around. Oh, and then it was me, my fiance, and then my brother's girlfriend who did the focus pulling.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a little family affair, and then the two dancers. And I rented like an Area Alexa share grid.
No, I loved it. It was a good little piece. It was kind of fun, and it was shot really well. And it almost felt like it could be like an ad for like Apple or like Samsung or something. It just had that like,
right.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was trying to go for. Like, okay, like what is like my motion, like advertisement style?
Yeah. And do you feel like when you're shooting motion work, are you trying to match it to the same kind of style or aesthetic that your still photography is, or do you kind of view it as two different kind of things?
I mean, I want to match it in the sense that like the casting is still sort of people that what's a better word than like real people, like just people that are, I guess like real people that you would just like see out in the world, like same kind of type of people that I like to photograph. And also the way that I connect to the person. Because I think a big part of my photography is really just connecting with my subject and making it like a safe and collaborative space. So in that way, I'm doing it the same. But then in terms of like the visual aesthetic, I think I'm still kind of playing around with that. I think it might be a little bit more lifestyle than my photography is, just because that seems to be the just kind of most easy, like fluid, organic way to shoot things. But especially like right now, like this Groove project, I was just funding it myself. So I didn't have the money to like get a big studio and a bunch of lights and, all kinds of different things. So we're just kind of out in the street with the camera. So I think because I'm still sort of starting out in the motion world, that restricts or limits like the visual style that I'm going to get out of it.
No, I really liked it. There was another motion project you did. What is it called? I think, was it called Born Chevy? Was that the name of it?
Oh, Born a Chevy. Born in a Chevy.
Born in a Chevy. And I couldn't tell if it was like documentary or if it was actually scripted. I think it was scripted, but I couldn't tell. It was a great piece.
Thank you.
What was that all about?
So that one is a short film. So and I shot that one all myself on my iPhone. And it was not a documentary. It was sort of like on the edge.
Yeah.
So I did have a script, but it didn't have any dialogue. All the dialogue was improvised. And I really I wrote the script for these two people. Like I really I wanted a I love their relation. They're best friends, or they were best friends in real life. And I loved their relationship so much and wanted to shoot something around that. So I just wrote wrote something kind of for them. So it's almost like teetering on the line of like documentary, but it's not. It is like a scripted thing. No, even the names are fake.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like, I don't know if you know like Spike Jonze, the director Spike Jonze.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some of his old music videos. There's one, I forget who it was. It was like some dance music video, one of his famous ones. I'm blanking on the band, but it was almost like that. It was like I was watching it. I was like, is this documentary or is this real? And I kind of liked it. It made me like keep watching it because I was trying to figure it out. But yeah, it was a really nice piece.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'd ever, in terms of filmmaking, would you ever want to make like a full length, or what are your kind of hopes and dreams with like filmmaking, I guess?
That's one of my goals this year, is to write a feature film. And I'm actually working on another short film right now with my cousin. We're not going to shoot it just yet because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But this one, I'm working on another short film that's similar. It's going to be like improvised and very much, even though it'll be scripted, it's not a documentary. It's like very, very much based on her and her life. I mean, it is a documentary, but it's not, because the camera is not like, they're not looking into the camera or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's very much based on her and her life. So, but that one I want to shoot it a little bit more like on an Alexa, get like a real sound person, just sort of like the Born in a Chevy, but more elevated. So that one I'm planning soon. And then, by the end of this year, my goal is to write a feature film.
So writing something you enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't really enjoy it super much. I mean, I do enjoy writing, but I kind of see the feature film, I would write like the idea and an outline and like have characters, and then we'll just improvise the dialogue on set.
I think that's how they do Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've read. I don't know.
They do. Yeah. They improvise that. Yeah. There's also the two directors that I've been super inspired by is Joe Swanberg. Mm-hmm. All of his films are improvised. He doesn't have any like real scripts. I mean, he has like outlines.
What are some of his films?
Fully improvised. He did like Drinking Buddies is a pretty famous one, and Hannah Takes the Stairs. He also did the TV show on Netflix called Easy, which is where I first learned about his work. But he's done, I don't know how many movies he's done, but he's done a lot, like way more than almost any director, because he does them super low budget. He does not care about what it looks like. And he just writes an outline. He doesn't write a full script, and just like grabs his buddies and just shoots like a feature film he can shoot in like a couple weeks.
Yeah, this shows you don't need, if you have like a good idea and like a good story, like all the fancy cameras and stuff really don't matter. Like you can get creative. Like there's another famous director, I'm blanking on people's names today, but he switched. He shoots all his movies on iPhone now.
Oh wow, right.
But it is interesting. What's like are there any movies or shows you watched in the last few months that you really enjoyed?
I watch a lot of TV actually. Right now I'm watching that show I May Destroy You.
Oh, I just binge watched that last night.
Oh, okay, nice.
It was incredible.
It's really good.
Yeah, it was intense. But great storytelling and the cinematography. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw.
Yeah, that one's great.
Sound of Metal. Have you seen that?
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, it's great. It's on Amazon. Okay. It's this movie. That dude, Rami or something.
Yeah. He's got a show.
Yeah. He was
okay,
yeah, really good. Couple more questions, I'll let you go. Another shoot, I had to pull it up. You photographed another cover. You're just killing the covers. Entertainment Weekly.
Oh, this one was great.
With Sacha Baron Cohen. I had to ask about this shoot because like He's in a pool. What's the backstory with this shoot?
This shoot was kind of amazing. So this one we did during COVID. So he was very like, we had to take 3 tests, or maybe, I forgot, maybe even more, a bunch of COVID tests. I could only have one assistant. And we were shooting at his house, and he really wanted to keep it very like anonymous. Like I couldn't shoot any angles that show any of his house at all.
Yeah, makes sense.
Keep it private, yeah.
Yep.
So, but he was quite a character. I mean, he was really funny. So they basically, the editor, or me and the editor, we didn't want anything like Borat, we really wanted it to be like about him and just sort of show him in a more, realistic kind of way. But also like, he's very handsome, actually. He's like very like debonair, but he doesn't really like to show himself that way, I think.
Yeah.
So we had this idea of going into the pool already, and we had like a couple other ideas, but he kind of kept shooting down all the ideas. He like didn't like anything.
What were some of the ideas?
I think there was one. Oh, there was something. What were some of the ideas? I know there was something to do with like a protest sign.
Got it.
That was not my idea. Like someone else had that idea. I can't remember. There's something with like a mug, like him holding a mug. There's like a lot of different. And this one I was excited about the pool. And then I get there and he says, "Oh, should I dress up as Borat? Do you want me to do Borat?"
No. No,
we don't want Borat. And he's like, "Okay. Well, what about Ali G? Should I do Ali G?"
Oh, that would have been good. That'd be a hard one to say no to. I love Ali G.
I was like, "No, Sasha, we just want you."
Yeah. And
then he comes up on the spot. He says, "We have a chicken coop. I want to do a photo of like a chicken on my shoulder, and it's like shitting on my shoulder." And I was like, that's actually a really cool idea. I like that a lot. The funny thing is we shot that picture, and like before this came out, I think it's like Hollywood Reporter did the exact same photo with Keith Stanfield. Yeah. And my editor sent it to me. She's like, "Well," I was like, "No." But this one ended up being great too. So the chicken one, so that one we just came up with last minute.
You almost had like the opposite problem. Like a lot of times you're trying to like convince people to do crazy stuff, but you're almost doing, he wanted to do all these.
He's
like,
trying to convince
and you're like, no, we want to make this like classic, like straightforward.
And it's very like, it's funny because he's such a big personality, I mean, I was a little, I don't know if starstruck is the right name, but like a little intimidated, but trying to like stay assertive, and you're kind of like that, like you want to make him feel really good, but you want to stay assertive with the vision. And again, like I was saying with Kamala, okay, she didn't want to put her hand to her face, that's fine, but he would like, he just didn't understand.
Well, yeah, it must be because he at the end of the day
vision at all.
He is a film director himself, so he's like all his movies, like he has his finger on every little piece of it, so that's probably just ingrained in like who he is.
He was definitely trying to direct this, so it was different than someone saying like, "I don't really like this pose." He was really trying to like direct it, and it's just, and then at one point he brings out a Borat, like a life-size Borat cardboard cutout, and he's like, "Let's shoot with this." Oh, and I was like, "Okay, let's shoot with it. It's fine." So just kind of humoring him, knowing in my head, like, we're not going to use these pictures, but I'm trying to make him feel better. So, you're trying to like manage this personality so that you can get something out of him. And sort of the first half of the shoot was just really intense, like him trying to direct everything and me trying to like figuring out how to like navigate that energy. And then the second half of the day, I feel like he let go. And he like understood, like he trusted me more. Yeah, I think like the second half of the shoot, he really like let go more. And that's when we got this pool shot was like the last thing we did. And he finally was like excited to get in the pool. Because at first he kept saying, "Do we need to do the pool? I don't know about the pool. I don't like the pool idea."
Yeah.
I was like, "No, it's going to be good. It's going to be really good." And I always tell people like, let's just do it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We delete the pictures. Like, let's just do it,
How much time did you get with him?
We had a while. I think I was there for maybe an hour or more. Okay. I think I was there like longer than we had planned just because he kept adding a lot of things.
Yeah.
And he was down. He was like, "Let's do this,"
Yeah, that's good. And
Mhm.
and it's like, cause yeah, you kind of mentioned it. Like the subjects sometimes have their thing they want to do, but then you have your thing. Like, have you always just kind of had that like confidence of like kind of I mean, you're at the end of the day, you're the director on the set, you're the photographer, you're running the ship, but have you always kind of had that confidence and just kind of running the show, I guess? Because I would imagine it can get intimidating. I know I've definitely been intimidated by people sometimes where it's like you're saying, like this guy, he obviously has some idea in his mind, but you're trying to do your job. So it's like it's like mental gymnastics, you know?
Yeah, I think I definitely have not always had that confidence. I think it takes practice and
Mhm.
just um yeah, just doing it a lot and just doing it enough for like how to make a good photo, I think. But yeah, and just like like once you shoot a lot, you start shooting with so many different types of personalities that you just learn how to navigate and figure them out. But I feel like I've always been a people person. Like people have told me they feel really at ease with me. So that's always been part of just my personality,
Mhm.
which I really try to lean on to. So even though you do have to be obviously assertive and confident and a leader, I think that being like very like easygoing and like a people person and making people feel comfortable and relaxed, like that goes a long way too. It's sort of like the balance of those two things.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess to wrap up, like, what's next for you? Like, anything you're kind of hoping to work on this year, or like anything kind of coming up, or what are you kind of hoping to work on moving forward? I guess.
I actually have something super exciting coming up that's like one of my dream jobs, but I can't say
Okay.
anything about it yet.
All right. We'll do
But
episode
I'm
two.
really
Episode
excited.
two. We'll do a follow up.
Episode two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really want to focus on like commercial work.
Mm.
I want to shoot a lot more beauty. So that's something I'm working on, just doing a lot of personal beauty shoots and directing, filmmaking, and motion. So those are sort of like in terms of my work, what I'm really going to be focusing on this year.
And when you say beauty, like you mean like kind of like fashion type thing? That's like a world like I've tried to learn more about it and talk to different people in that realm. But like, what is it about the beauty work that kind of interests you? I guess.
I've just been following a lot of cool beauty photographers, Brooke Nipar, Grace Rivera, some of them. And so when I say beauty, I mean like sort of these like very close-up shots of
Mhm.
women. Sometimes they have makeup, sometimes it's not. It's like more about the skincare,
Yep.
which I think previously I thought, oh, well, that sounds kind of cheesy. I don't know if I'm interested in that. But I've seen a lot of these photographers that shoot it just so beautifully and with so much emotion and passion and like vulnerability to the shots that I just thought, okay, this is cool because I can actually make something that feels artistic and that feels like something that's in my realm. And beauty makes a lot of money.
All
So
right, all
I can
right.
kind
Yeah,
of let's
no
throw
one's
those two
let's cash
together.
some checks. 2020. I like it.
So I'm just like, how can we? The art is important,
Art and
but
commerce.
to me,
Art and
money is
commerce.
very important. I'm trying to get paid.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Well, Nolan, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. Glad we connected. My friend, our mutual friend Cheyenne Ascarnia, he connected
Oh
us.
yeah,
He
that's
took your
really
photo
sweet. He's
last week on
great.
one of his.
Yeah.
Anybody go check it out. He's doing a walk series and he photographed you. But yeah, can't thank you enough. And definitely for anybody listening, if they want to check out more of your work, where's the best place for them to go?
So they can go to my website, which is my name, NolwenCifuentes.com. My Instagram is at NolwenCif. And can I just plug something real quick?
Plug all you want.
Thanks. So I'm also really interested in like helping artists become financially, like manage their finances and help build their finances. And I have this whole other Instagram that I started recently that all I do is like videos that talk about this. And it's at don'tbe.a-starving-artist.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, say it again. One more time, or you can text it to me too. So
I'll text it to you. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm definitely gonna check that out. I have something I've been
Okay,
thinking
cool.
about more of. I just said I got my IRA going, and I'm like,
right, nice.
And it's important. You get in the habit. Like, I mean, it's not as sexy as shooting photos and stuff like that, but it's important stuff to do for sure.
Yeah, to keep yourself sustainable.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate the time and look forward to seeing your work in the future. And take care, Nolan.
All right, thanks so much.
Peace.
Thanks for having me.
So there you have it. That was the Nolwen Cifuentes interview. Just want to thank Nolwen so much for taking the time to come on the podcast. It was a real pleasure talking to her about her journey with photography and all her recent assignments for publications like Rolling Stone and Time Magazine. Really great stuff. So can't thank her enough. Definitely go check out Nolwen's website at nolwencifuentes.com, as well as on Instagram. You can find her at NolwenCIF. I'll put the links in the descriptions, but definitely go give her a follow on Instagram. She's always posting different things she's working on and whatnot. So yeah, can't thank her enough. And as always, I'll be having weekly podcasts every week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as the Photo Banter YouTube page. So definitely go check us out on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, as it'd be much appreciated. And yeah, thanks so much for listening, and take care.